On Gravitas Frontline tonight, we look at the Saudi military. That's later on the show. For the moment, developments closer home. Ties between India and the Maldives continue to remain tense after ignoring New Delhi's appeals to repeal the emergency in the country. Malé has now declined India's invitation to participate in a naval exercise in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands next month. New Delhi had invited the naval forces of the Maldives for the 8-day Milan exercise next month. Indian Navy Chief Sunil Lamba has not given any reason for their refusal. India will be playing host to navies from 16 countries for the Milan exercise, which aims to expand regional cooperation and combat unlawful activities in critical sea lanes. The navies of Australia, Malaysia, Myanmar, New Zealand and Oman are among the 16 countries that have confirmed their participation so far. Next week, the Indian government Last week, the government had termed the extension of emergency in the Maldives a disturbing development. In its response, the Maldives government described India's position as unconstitutional and a clear distortion of facts. A statement was issued by the Maldivian embassy in New Delhi earlier today saying that they will not be able to participate in the naval war games due to the current state of emergency in the country. But Mali's response is not the only one worth noting. Beijing is losing sleep over exercise Milan. The reactions from the state mouthpiece have been sharp. Senior foreign editor Padma Rao takes a closer look at exercise Milan, what the Chinese are saying and why they're saying it.
For a brief moment in time, it seemed as though the two big Asian powers, China and India, may be drawing closer. China did not prevent a global anti-terror conference from a decision to put Pakistan on a grey list. India supported China's taking over the vice presidency of that organization that reviews global funding to countries like Pakistan, which act as safe havens to terrorists. There was even a friendly neighborhood visit. India's foreign secretary popped across the 3,600-kilometer fence to China to say hello to his counterparts in Beijing's foreign office. But a routine naval exercise to be held by the Indian Navy along with other countries every year has got Beijing's backup and its media foaming at the mouth. Naval exercise Milan is an 8-day affair held in India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands every 2 years. The islands belong to India but are geographically closer to Myanmar, Indonesia and Thailand, all of whom will participate too, as will 21 other countries. And while sailors mingle and share technologies, strategies and skills, the naval chiefs of all these countries will hold deliberations on a given subject of global relevance. But Milan is not a sudden idea. Since 1996, it's been held regularly and was cancelled due to natural catastrophes and one special event only 3 times in its history. Let's take a look at Exercise Milan and importantly its modest beginnings. Exercise Milan began as a modest affair in 1995 with only Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Thailand taking part. By 2003, Australia, Myanmar and Malaysia had joined in. In 2012, Brunei, Cambodia, Maldives, Mauritius, New Zealand, Philippines, the Seychelles and Vietnam hopped on board. And in March 2018, East Timor and Papua New Guinea will take part too, as will African navies from Kenya, Tanzania, and some other first-timers will be Oman and Mozambique. So what's upsetting the Chinese? After all, there is a semi-permanent presence of Chinese naval ships in the Indian Ocean at any given time. China is pursuing its Belt and Road Initiative and clever brand of debt-trap diplomacy in all the South Asian Indian Ocean rim states except India and is contemplating military bases too wherever its investments go. But India too is concerned by those moves. So what's the big deal about India holding a naval drill along with her allies in her very own pond, that is the Indian Ocean? One look at China's mouthpiece Global Times gives one an idea of the level of annoyance in China. India has pursued a path of quiet diplomacy over China's frequent territorial claims and aggressive border incursions. The Indian media too is usually balanced on the issue. But the tables seem to have turned now. China's mouthpiece Global Times gave India and its exercise Milan a shrill scolding. Milan will inflame tensions, it thundered. It is Indo-Pacific posturing. And then the writer sounded war drums. The exercise will extend the conflict from land to sea. The publication predictably interviewed Chinese analysts who said the same thing in different words. India is provoking China, grumbled one interviewee. The exercise, he told the Global Times, will not benefit Sino-Indian relations. China boasts of the largest navy in Asia, and that is going from strength to strength. So the real issue obviously lies elsewhere. From a modest four-nation drill to a gigantic show in which nations from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean will join hands, Exercise Milan will put a subject on top of its agenda, and that's what's raising hackles in China. And that subject is Beijing's unbridled and illegal expansionism in the South China Seas. India seems to be embellishing its quiet China policy with some smart, jagged edges. And it's those edges that are pricking Beijing now. Padma Rao, WION.